Find Central Pitside, brought to you by Edgechem, AIM Financial Corporation, Texaco, and Connex.
It's time for the midday news. It's Friday, November 8, 2024. I'm TK Dawkins. Thanks for joining us. We start on a solemn note. This morning, a body was found along the roadway on Lyndhurst Crescent in Kingston. The shocking discovery was made by a passerby at approximately 7 a.m. The St. Andrews Central Police have launched an investigation to determine the circumstances surrounding the mysterious death and appearance. The police are calling on anyone with information to come forward. Since the shocking revelation this morning, residents have been left unsettled. CVM will have more as the story unfolds. Senator Cavan Gale, president of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, is again calling for the introduction of unemployment insurance for Jamaicans who have lost their jobs as a means of expanding the social safety net.
Unemployment insurance is critical. We must introduce or expand the thought around unemployment insurance scheme to provide a safety net for workers who may have to move between jobs to reduce financial vulnerability. It goes without saying, it does not replace the Redundancy Entitlement Act.
Jamaica recently signed a loan agreement to support the Jamaica Social Protection for Increased Resilience and Opportunities project to include funding for the start of an unemployment insurance scheme.
First of all, sir, we have to deal with the skills gap assessment. Before considering an increase in overseas labor market, let's conduct a comprehensive assessment of the skills gap in the domestic workforce. This assessment should involve a collaboration between government agencies, the trade unions, because we are not going to be left out of this conversation, industry associations, and the educational institutions to identify what are those specific skills that are in demand in the various industries. And Mr. President, the next move is to invest in education and training programs to address the identified skills gap.
First, Gale also addressed matters of overseas labor. Gale says it's best to look inwards to build our local skills capacity. With natural disasters becoming more frequent, the country's finance ministry is ensuring there are enough resources to cover any unexpected additional expenses. But there are potential risks with some of the options available. To tell us more, here's Trisha Gay Kelly.
The term disaster preparedness is often used locally to describe the country's ability to plan ahead of disasters as well as recover from them. However, a vital aspect of this preparedness is the financial readiness of the country. But does Jamaica have the financial resources to ensure a successful recovery? Well, the Finance Ministry is not waiting to find out. At a recent town hall, the ministry's chief fiscal economist, Teron Francis, reminded that the country has an insurance facility with the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, CCRIF. He explained the benefits this relationship has to offer.
We have actually three policies. We have the excess rainfall policy, the tropical cyclone policy, and we have an earthquake policy. And interestingly, with the passage of Hurricane Beryl, the policies for the excess rainfall and the tropical cyclone would have been triggered, and Jamaica was able to benefit from 4.2 billion Jamaican dollars.
The country also has a contingency plan with the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. This plan can provide up to $300 million. However, such options pose a risk to the sector. Francis explains these options are never the first choice.
The contingencies fund and the CAT DDO, these are instruments that we will draw down on as a matter of last resort, for the very reason that when you draw down on these contingent credit facilities, it actually increases the public debt of the central government.
So it's basically a loan. He says the ministry has, however, prioritized budgeting the country's financial resources to ensure most, if not all, recovery expenses can be facilitated locally without putting the nation in debt.
We are having in place these instruments to ensure, as I said before, that we have ex-ante preparation. We have made ex-ante preparation to ensure that adequate resources are available to finance natural disasters when they do occur, so that we can preserve the gains that we would have made over the years.
The ministry has also ventured into conversations with the World Bank around the provision of a catastrophe deferred drawdown option, DDO. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
A police officer is dead following a tragic motor vehicle collision in St. Catherine Wednesday night. The accident occurred when his vehicle reportedly collided with a JUTC bus after attempting to overtake another car. The National Road Safety Council is once more renewing calls for drivers to practice good road safety habits. Shantae McNeil has more on this story.
Members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force are mourning the tragic loss of a young constable who succumbed to injuries sustained in a motor vehicle accident in Greater Portmore, St. Catherine on Wednesday evening. Reports from the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch indicate that around 8:12, the constable was traveling easterly along Southeast 4th Street in Greater Portmore in his private black Nissan Sylphy when he allegedly overtook a Toyota motor car, and the two vehicles made contact before the Nissan collided head-on with a JUTC bus traveling in the opposite direction. The driver, identified as 26-year-old Constable David Hamilton, who was assigned to the St. Andrew Central Division, sustained severe injuries and was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. At least 7 police officers have died due to road accidents since the start of the year. This according to Vice Chair of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, who expressed condolences to the victim.
And it's always very poignant when a policeman dies, because these are the ones who are commissioned to serve and protect. So it's very unfortunate in this context when we hear about a policeman dying on our roads. The most I would say at this point in time is to offer the colleagues of this unfortunate policeman who died our condolences and our support at this time.
And while withholding comments on whether the incident may have been a case of reckless driving, Dr. Jones continues to remind road users to practice road safety habits.
Generally speaking, in many cases in this country, people are speeding and overtaking carelessly. I don't know the circumstances accurately to make a comment on this case, but the general message to get out there for all road users and all drivers is the fact that we must cut our speed. If we obey all of these things which are enshrined in law, then we're going to have less and less fatal crashes.
He shares that come November 17, a World Day of Remembrance organized by the World Health Organization will be held in memory of road crash victims. So far, there have been 317 fatal collisions recorded since the start of the year, with 4 since the start of this month. The JCF reports that family members, friends, and colleagues of the deceased are receiving support from the Forces Chaplaincy Branch and Welfare Department. For CVM News, I'm Shante McNeil.
It's time for a break, but stay with us. Our discussion segment is next.
Expensive toner cartridges. Global Ink is now selling new factory direct generic toners. Remove factory seals, install and print. Engineered to work first time, every time. Certified for use in HP and Brother printers. Worry-free, affordable printing for your peace of mind. Money saved is money earned. We deliver island-wide. 754-7444 or 1-888-NEED INK. Never run out of toner again. Global Ink.
This week on Central Expressions.
Today we're out here in Mother Nature. We're at the Gulfview Hotel hosting our first annual Marriage Maneuvers Through Kingdom Principles.
And today at the Black River Film Festival, even though it's so hot, it was good, guys.
And today we'll talk about ownership of land.
Tune in to Central Expressions on CVM TV, Sundays at 3 p.m. Repeat Fridays at 9 a.m.
Make a move now, make a move now.
Hi everyone, my name is Kurt Dunn.
Greetings from Kelly's Kelly Yoga.
Hey, it's Travin Morrison, and I am your National Physical Activity Specialist. And it's time to make a move.
Jamaica, let's get moving again. Season 2 of the Ministry of Health and Wellness Jamaica Move series is here. Join us Wednesdays at 5 a.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on CVM TV. Let's get moving.
Make a move now.
Welcome back to CVM News at noon. It would normally be time for our discussion segment, but we apologize. We won't be having that today. More discussions next week. In the meantime, more news. Some Westmoreland communities are grappling with the aftermath of 2 tragic incidents that have once again highlighted the high stakes of unresolved conflicts. As one medical professional calls for a deeper look into conflict resolution, these cases serve as stark reminders of the consequences when tensions escalate. Ramon Gordon has more.
2 tragic incidents have left Westmoreland communities reeling, raising questions about conflict resolution and the underlying issues that can lead to fatal outcomes. In Truro District, a 29-year-old woman, Sidney Martin, has died after an alleged machete attack. Police report that the accused, 42-year-old Dwayne Anglin, now faces a murder charge in connection with the death. According to reports, the incident occurred around 3:30 a.m. on Sunday, when Martin reportedly became intoxicated and began tossing stones at Anglin's car. Anglin gave chase, inflicting multiple chop wounds to Martin's upper body. In a separate incident, a 25-year-old woman has also been charged with murder following a deadly altercation with her partner in Frome. Safia Peart is accused of fatally stabbing her 23-year-old boyfriend Dino Kangul during a fight over alleged infidelity. Both reportedly wielded knives during the confrontation last Tuesday, but only Kangul's injuries proved fatal. The government recently reported a significant reduction in major crimes in Jamaica since the start of the year, with murders down by 19%. However, one medical professional maintains the cost of violent crimes remains too high.
The burden of violence on the healthcare system is absolutely outrageous. One study actually quantified it as costing Jamaicans over $8.6 billion to treat violence-related incidents. And so it definitely is something that we have to cauterize as soon as possible, because these monies that are spent on treating patients who are victims of violence could definitely be used otherwise.
Both victims in our story, each under 30, died after conflicts escalated beyond resolution. It's why Dr. Brewster is urging a rethink of conflict resolution locally.
We have to start with our schools. I think violence has been ingrained in us from very young. Something as simple as minor conflicts in the classroom that we have seen ends up, in some cases resulting in stabbings and stuff that result in death. So we have to recondition our children in terms of how they deal with conflicts. Small things become big things. Today it's fighting over a lollipop and slapping someone or hitting someone in the head, causing a bruise. Tomorrow it's fighting over land and people are dead.
And beyond that, there's a call for cooler tempers.
You have to be reasonable and choose your battles. My mother always say, choose your battles, Depa. Choose your battles. And so you think about the consequences and you recognize that sometimes and most times it just isn't worth it. And the most mature and the sensible thing to do is to walk away.
Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
The People's National Party caretaker in Western Westmoreland is calling on the government to do more to address chronic flooding during the island's hurricane season. Britannia Witter has that report.
Tropical storm Raphael produced flash flooding in flood-prone areas island-wide on Tuesday before making a sudden departure up north. Several sections of Westmoreland, including the Negril area, were severely affected by the passage of the tropical storm. Speaking to CVM News, PNP caretaker Ian Hales emphasized the urgent need for drain cleaning in regions heavily reliant on tourism.
Let it be known that Negril is the mecca for tourism in Jamaica land we love. And yet, the amount of tourism dollars that Negril brings to Jamaica, Negril does not even get back a quarter of it. Now imagine the rainy season is upon us. Every year we have rainy season, yet the drains are not cleaned. The central government drains are not cleaned, which is run on the main road in Negril.
A seemingly passionate Hales called on the government and the Member of Parliament for Western Westmoreland to do more to prevent incidents of severe flooding.
Now I'm calling on the government. I'm calling on the Member of Parliament and government that start taking the people of Negril, the business of the people of Negril, serious. Enough is enough. It can't continue the way it has been going. The people of Negril wants to see action. It can't be that is when the flood come, you start reacting in terms of saying you need to clean the drains.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Western Westmoreland, Moreland Wilson, was in the McNeil land community in the Little London division during Tropical Storm Raphael, rendering assistance.
The soil has been saturated and almost 90% of the community is underwater. The Ministry of Labour is responding. They are currently in Negril, helping those who were flooded out yesterday. And we asked them to get into the McNeil land community to see what assistance they can lend.
Hales also raised concerns about the government's alleged delay in addressing what he described as a flood-prone area, citing the residents of Negril are taxpayers too. Britannia Witter, CVM News.
A mother has created a specialized school to address her child's speech delay, offering a unique approach to early childhood education. Speaking on Sunrise, she details how she took matters into her own hands with hopes of helping other parents facing similar challenges.
What I will recommend is for them to get the child evaluated first, because sometimes it's more than speech delay.
Yeah.
If they say speech delay, then you know you can help on your own along with therapy. For me, I would say to parents, get rid of the gadgets.
Yes, number one
I was
thing.
doing my master's and I thought my daughter with an iPad was, keeping her quiet. I was working online, doing school and all of that. And I realized that that was my mistake and I had to jump on. Simple conversations with your child. You're feeding your child, pick a little conversation. Giving them a shower, conversation. And that will boost their language skills.
To international news, violence broke out in Amsterdam last night as Israeli football club Maccabi Tel Aviv was in the city for a Europa League match. Dutch police say at least 62 people were arrested and 5 people taken to hospital. More from the BBC.
So this was a match, as you say, between Maccabi Tel Aviv and Ajax last night in the Europa League. And it seems that there were scenes of real violence that took place after the match. As ever, with these things on social media, you need to be a little careful, but it's quite clear that there were people who were beaten. I've seen videos of one man who was beaten unconscious, somebody hiding in a doorway. There's even another video, and again, I should say all of these we need to be a little careful on, but of somebody who was in a canal being told to say, free Palestine. And these scenes have been condemned not just by the Israeli government, but also by the Dutch government, described as horrific anti-Semitic events. The president here, Israel Herzog, Isaac Herzog, I should say, said that they were a pogrom, a reference to the anti-Semitic massacres that took